Joining us now in studio is Chris Pretorius, Wealth Manager at Alpha Wealth. He's talking to us about the cost of quality education in South Africa. A warm welcome to you, Chris. So your little bundle of joy made you do some maths calculations, and they're not looking too positive, are they?
No, definitely not. So I think in general at Alpha Wealth we deal with high-end clients, and it's often been a question that was asked by clients: how do they provide for their grandchildren, how much do they need to provide? And then obviously when I had my little one, I decided to actually do the numbers for myself and see what the result is.
Chris, congratulations, Daddy, but I have to say that your numbers are accurate, but they don't go far enough, because I think if you look at some of the balance sheets of some of these private institutions, I won't say which ones they are because then I'll be accused of victimization, but if you look how much money they've got in the kitty, it tells you that we are being overcharged. I'm a father of two and they've both been through private education. I don't think the education warrants 10% increase in inflation a year. I think we've been emotionally, financially blackmailed by these people, and we all fall for it, just like we fall for, prams that cost 2,000 Rand.
Yeah, no, I think you are probably correct. It's one of those things, unfortunately, that what's the alternative? We all want to do what's best for our children, and if you look at the demand of some of these schools, it's enormous. I think the cost is one thing, but what we have to account for, just getting them into some of these private schools are becoming incredibly difficult.
Talk us through the numbers then.
Basically, I took a sample. I took from Joburg sample. I used the average cost of, say, St. Stithians, St. John's, and I threw in Bishops there as well, and St. David's. So if you're taking a newborn born today, made a couple of assumptions like 10% growth in the fees going forward, and assuming you send it to Abbott's College, a junior college, which is owned by Advitech, we're looking at costing you 4.1 million Rand, roughly. And if you were to then go even further and you were to say, okay, I want to do the very best for my kid and do Hilton Michaelhouse, you're looking at about 7 million Rand, which means that you have to put a lump sum down now today of between 800 and let's call it 1.5 million Rand. And that's assuming you get very, very good returns as well, stock market related 8% above inflation returns.
Yeah. Chris, what you've got to do, of course, is realise that in the future it's going to become more and more of a business, because when I used to go to school, I used to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning, leave at 4 in the afternoon. Extracurricular activities were confined to school days. Now they're essentially populated by weekends, so your weekends are ruined because the schools want you to go to a fundraising event or some sort of a match on a Saturday. So that also increases the bill. My daughter is going on our last netball tour in about 2 weeks' time. 9,100 Rand for a netball tour for one person to come from Johannesburg to Cape Town, and I'm on the point of refusing to pay it because it's absolutely ridiculous. Do you think that there's a chance that we're, apart from the emotional financial blackmail, they're becoming too businesslike in their approach to education?
Yeah, no, I do think these are big businesses, and you only have to look at the likes of Kira and Advitech. These countries are making a lot of money out of, you can call it what you want, emotionally blackmailing us. And I think it's also, I have to say, in my numbers, I make no provision for anything else than school fees.
No healthcare, no books,
no healthcare. It assumes he goes to school basically naked, he's got no clothes, he doesn't eat, he doesn't do extracurricular activity, there's no sports equipment. That's just sending him to the school. So these numbers are a lot worse than they look on the face, even though it's hard to imagine them doing much worse.
Well, the truth of the matter is that the demand is there, other than the emotional blackmail. But then for a parent like Lindsay, does he have, or even myself, I don't even have kids, but at this rate I might reconsider and not want them at all. But what investment options are out there? And if you are investing, you mentioned equities exposure, what kind of returns should you be aiming at getting?
Well, I think that's one of the crux of my argument. A little bit of extra performance, because it's a long time frame, does a hell of a lot for you. So if you generate 2% more than what I'm assuming, the total cost drop by like 16%. So I think my argument also says, like, you need to get 8% over and above inflation for my numbers to work. But if you were to put your money into a money market account, you are absolutely destined. You've got no chance because inflation is going up at 10%. But they are also, at the same time, all
buying Advitech or Curo Holdings. I mean, if you'd bought Curo Holdings 2 years ago, you would have been able to pay for your newborn's school fees for the next 5 years, I would have thought.
And I think that's probably a very good hedge to the strategy. Buy a bit of Cura and Advitech. You know.
Buy both and not either?
Well, I personally lean towards Advitech because it's much more reasonably priced, but you know, it's the same argument as buying a Sasol when the petrol price is going through the roof. You get a little bit back. But I don't know, it's you have to be aggressive in your investment stance, and you got to make sure that you save from the start.
Given all this, do you think that perhaps that you're going to have another one, Chris, or have you been put off this because of these horrible numbers?
Well, Lindsay, I would say it's been the best thing for my career. I'm working a lot more hours than I used to. No, I don't know. We have to, I think there's two sides to it, and we'd like to have another one, but obviously, you know, have to keep on going, and hopefully we can afford all this.
Oh boy, yeah, I need to win the lotto, I think, before I even consider having a child. But thank you so much for your calculations and your time today, Chris. Pleasure having you. That was Chris Pretorius, Wealth Manager at Alpha Wealth.